Hi, how are you all doing? So as most of you know, I posted I'm not a techie geek, so I don't know all the fancy gadgets that you can use for TikTok or much else, anything else these days. However, you've probably seen that I posted a little clip yesterday, Transformation Thursday, and it had been, see, about 5 years ago. You know when you have those moments that you find it difficult to say something in the moment, and you find that moment, and sometimes you can never find that moment. And I was always trying to find that moment to, coming out is one of the scariest bloody things in the world. I mean, being a parent is scary, trust me, believe me, but, coming out is up there with one of those two. So I was like, my dad was always the strict one, and you always kind of knew where your boundaries were with dad. Our mums are brilliant. Everybody and anybody who doesn't say that a mum is brilliant needs to work with themselves. I lost my mum about 2 years ago. It was 2 years ago, actually. And mums are the greatest people in the world, eh? So anyway, what I'm trying to get to is, we went out for a meal one day, and I was trying to think of how to tell my mum that I was bisexual. So we had the meal and everything, and we've come out, and I'm walking her to the bus, and I'm going, if you don't say this now, you're never going to say it. So I said, Mum, I've got something to tell you. I'm bisexual. And she just looked at me and says, okay, and? So what? It's just that. And she says, I don't live in the dark ages, son. It doesn't bother me that I'm with the modern times, eh? And that was so wonderful to hear, because so many bloody parents out there, they disown their kids. They think there's something wrong with them, when there's not. And I've been on this bloody planet for almost 60 years, believe it or not. 60 years next year, and we all go through changes, some for the better, some for the worse. And I'm going to kind of do this in two parts, because I want to do this as me, but then I also want you show you the other side of me as well at some point. And I think that is going to be scary for certain reasons. You know, as I say, it's about the parents not accepting you, but there's also the side where your kids won't accept you for who you are, or who you want to be, or what you want to be. And I kind of, there's always been, where are these flies coming from? I keep getting flies in my living room, and I have no idea why, or but it's so annoying, especially when they're in front of the TV. Anyway, so yeah, where was I? So yeah, you have your parents who are just don't want to know you anymore. A lot of people end up being homeless because of that. You know, because they're gay, lesbian, basically part of the LGBT community, LGBT plus. And 2 years ago, I mentioned to, it took me that long after I told my mum to even tell my two sisters, to tell my kids. It was like my youngest sister, she kind of already knew, which it's like sometimes people do already know before you even bloody say anything. And of course, when I told my two daughters, my youngest daughter had already sussed out that side. And then you have to have the conversation with your sons, and yeah, that's, I always find that I have better conversations with women than I do with men. I get on far better with women than I do with men. I think maybe because most of the jobs that I've always been in have been with women. So yeah, you know, there was always that. And as you can probably tell, I'm still rather nervous, and making this video and want to share it with y'all. And you know, I mean, we're talking almost 10 minutes already, if you can even stay that long. Maybe I should have just cut the video down, or maybe we can still cut the video down, who knows. But then there's always been that other part of me as well, and that feminine side to me. And it wasn't until about 2 years ago, I think this is probably better saved to another story. We'll break it down into what it needs to be for the time being. But before I go, I just want to say that, you know, if you're an ally, if you know somebody that is LGBT, then please support them as best you can, because, you know, there's nothing worse than that. You know, it does affect your mental health, mental well-being, and everything like that, as I'm sure most of you already know. So love you all. Hello, darlings. So I'm a little bit different today, as you can probably tell. And I did say that I would kind of follow through on coming out on part 2. So this is part 2. I do have a ring light on, so you can probably see that because I got 2 little circles in my eyes. Anyway, I wasn't sure about doing this. You know, it was hard enough coming out as bisexual. Took me a long time to do that. And so just to kind of clear a couple of things up, because there seems to be a misconception of how people should look these days. Like there's a flipping rule book at how a man should look and how a woman should look. You know, let's just say there's plenty of women out there who look more manly than men. There's plenty of women out there who've got more fucking balls than men. There's plenty of women out there who have short hair, long hair, no hair. You know, I mean, honestly, where is the fucking rule book that says you have to look a certain way in order to fit in to fucking gender? You know, where does it say you have to look like a woman? How do you have to look like a woman? How does a woman dress? You know, there are women out there who dress like men, and nobody seems to have a problem with that. I think the biggest thing that I've noticed, and the biggest problem that I seem to have picked up on, is that the issue is with transgender women, not with transgender men. You know, you never seem to hear much about that, and it's like, why? So, you know, where is that rule book that says you have to look a certain way in order to be a man or a woman, or to define your sexuality? So this is me today. I say it's taken me about an hour just to look like this, and I'll show you the rest of it in a minute. And it is kind of nerve-wracking for me to do this, because not a lot of people actually know, and a lot more people are starting to find out. Obviously my kids want nothing to do with it. You know, because I got 2 grandchildren, and you know, it's kind of funny because as a parent, I would support my kids in whatever way. You know, if they come to me tomorrow and says, "Dad, I'm gay. Dad, I'm a lesbian. Dad," you know, whatever they decide to do, they have my full support. You know, and I suppose that's the kind of bit that does hurt in a way. I mean, my youngest son knows it's not. I mean, I've got, let's just say, I've got a fairly decent wardrobe. So yeah, I'm kind of getting a little bit lost in where I'm trying to go here. But anyway, this is me. I haven't put all my makeup on today because I'm going to work later on. So I feel it's a waste of money sometimes if you put all the makeup on and you're not going anywhere. So, you know, as I say, there is no rule book that says you have to dress and act a certain way in order to fit into society. It's just people's fucking mentality that that there seems to be some. That's where the problem is. So this is me. I'm not trans. I'm not. I mean, I'm under the trans umbrella because I'm non-binary. And only a few people at work even know about this, obviously. So I know who are on my TikTok will know a little bit more as of today. But yeah, so I don't know. It's if some like I've been in women's toilets, all right, and nobody's batted an eyelid. Nobody said, "Oh, you look like a fucking man." I could say to a woman, "You look like a fucking man," or I can, you know, there's people get old, people get wrinkly, bodies change. You know, not every woman has fucking big knockers. Not every man has a six pack. I mean, some men have fucking better boobs than women. So you know, yeah, where is that fucking rule book that says you have to look like a man or a woman? If somebody can show me that rule book, then by all means, go ahead and show me. But I know there isn't one. I've been out in public. I've been, you know, I've been doing this like 2 years now. I used to wear wigs because my hair was so short. And the only reason why I'd done it 2 years ago was because I was at the company that I worked for. We had a little shielding group going on, and I opened my big mouth and says like, there was something anyway, and I says, "Oh, I'll put on a dress and heels," and of course I got dared to do that, and I did it. But I says like, if I do that, then would you donate to my favourite charity, which obviously is the British Heart Foundation. So you know, I did it, and I'm not uncomfortable in this body or my male body. I'm my male, female, non-binary body. I'm fucking nervous, as you can probably tell. So all I want to say is stop the fucking hate on the transgender community, especially trans women. Trans women are fucking beautiful. And if you're listening to this and you're a trans woman, trans man, I love you. Anybody else in the LGBTQ plus community, I love you too. And anybody else out there, I fucking love you for watching this, for just being there and being an ally for all of us. If you are an ally, if you're not, then please think about being one, because there's too much fucking hate in this world at the moment. Love you.